There will be plenty of time to kind of get into the data about this election, but I want to point at three data points that, to me, have a really interesting and important relationship. The first is that Israel was one of the few countries where a solid majority of the people, the neighborhood of about 77%, preferred Trump to Biden. The second point is that when asked about U.S. support for Israel, the exit polls basically broke down a third, a third, a third, some undecided, rough numbers, a third or so saying U.S. is too supportive of Israel, a third or so saying the U.S. is not supportive enough, and a third or so saying it's about right, kind of Goldilocks, if you will, which suggests that a solid majority of the people support Israel. But another third most important, very important data point related to this is that about 78% of American Jews voted for Harris. And what this tells me is that Israel is clearly moving in a much more right-wing direction, Israeli Jews relative to American Jews. But in the big picture, this is really not good for Israel. Because what will happen here, because especially look at data about American Jews by generation, is that an increasingly right-wing Israel will have increasingly less connection to American Jews and will become a project not supported substantially by liberal American Jews, but by far-right American Christians, which is exactly what the Likud government wants. But in the long run, I can't imagine it's good for Israel to be supported by one faction of one party and have everyone else not really interested in what increasingly looks like just another right-wing populist government. So I know there's a lot to look at, and I know that, Jews and Israel is one very small piece of this, but to me this is fascinating and is really worth exploring as we think about the future of the bilateral relationship, the future of the State of Israel, the future of the Middle East, and not least American Jewry, who despite all the efforts by the Republican Party voted overwhelmingly for Harris at a time when other traditional Democratic groups, particularly notably Latinos, were moving away from the Democratic Party. So there's a lot there to kind of discuss.